The Eurobodalla Shire Council is responding to drought by increasing water restrictions. Stage 2 restrictions will be enforced from next month. It'll affect the way residents water their gardens, wash their cars and top up swimming pools and spas. At the same time, the council is doing some long-term planning for that other extreme of our client, floods. The Mayor of Eurobodalla Shire Council, Liz Innes, joins us this morning. Hi, Councillor Innes.
Good morning, Simon. How are you?
I'm very well. So some flood planning and some community information sessions happening around now.
Yes, look, that's right, Simon. And, one of the things that we clearly understand from our community is that they want to be involved in all of this type of planning as it goes forward. And right at the moment, we're involved in that process.
Okay, so how important are these flood studies? Who needs to pay attention and have a say?
Well, look, I guess everyone really does need to be aware of it and how it impacts them, but particularly those that might be in low-lying areas. So we're saying to people at the moment, we're trying to get some anecdotal evidence of, past flood events so that we can, correlate that with the modelling that we've done currently so that we get it as accurate as we can because, Simon, we do realise that whatever sort of regimes we put in place do have impacts on people as how they can build and what they can do going forward and how we best prepare with infrastructure and things like that as a local council. So it's really important that we take our time and we get as much information as we can to feed into this process.
Now, I've seen some criticism of council and declaring some areas are flood prone and saying that's going to drive up insurance premiums and the like. What's your response to residents who raise those concerns?
Look, I understand their concerns and it's entirely valid that they raise those concerns with us. However, the insurance companies use their own modelling and that is what drives their pricing of their insurance premiums. So, we have had some response, particularly over sea level rise, from some of those insurance companies saying to us we should adopt their levels or their predicted forecasts. But Council's done its own work. We think that we've been very considered in our approach. So I say to people, look, we aren't involved directly with how those costs will be impacted. So, that's where it sits.
Okay, and the New South Wales Coastal Council's conference was in Merimbula just last week. Any interesting insights into the future from that conference?
Look, Simon, again, it's right. I guess right at the moment, New South Wales whole eastern seaboard is in the process of grappling with just what we do to mitigate the effects of climate change, sea level rise, those types of things that we absolutely do have to consider. But the process, as far as I'm concerned, and things that are teased out at coastal conferences and things like that, are how it impacts our local communities. And again, the very, very clear message that we here in Eurobodalla are hearing consistently is that our local community really do want to get involved in this process, that they want to be given the opportunity to make sure that their concerns are heard. So I have a very strong feeling, Simon, that out of this, going forward with our coastal zone management planning, we will be able to, working with our community, come up with a coastal zone management plan that really does address those issues, but also, Simon, gives people clarity and confidence going forward to know just what they're dealing with. And hopefully that will take some of the concern out. It's when people really have a fear of the unknown that problems are created.
Okay, now returning to a topic we've discussed at length many times, the Council's rural land strategy. It seems there's still a lot of concerns being aired about it, and the State Labor's primary industry spokesman Mick Veach and the Labor candidate for Bega, Leanne Atkinson, are hosting some community meetings around it. What's your response to that? Are you concerned it might become a state election issue?
Look, Simon, if it does become a state election issue, I certainly would welcome that. I think it is about time that people really did get the facts around how some of these environmental legislative constraints are impacting everyday mum and dads who want to do a development and things like that. I think it is really important that people do understand that at the moment, currently, we have an enormous amount of environmental protection. And I'm very, very concerned that there are, and as I've said to you before, Simon, there are some out there in our community that are really driving this that are from a fairly extreme point of view. And I think that that's a very dangerous area for people to be involved in. And I'm also very concerned that some of the misinformation that they are putting out there is feeding this concern within our community. When I hear things like quotes of they are going to pare back environmental legislation, that is just completely not true. The rural lands process, at the end of the day, Simon, is a very, very good news story for Eurobodalla. It's one that went through an onerous process looking at all of the constraints, looking at how we best protect those valuable, viable farmlands, how we also allow for moderate, and I mean very moderate, development areas and consolidation of more marginal areas. So, Simon, I am concerned that it may be politicised, and at the end of the day, the ones who will lose out are our farmers and our young mums and dads that might want to live on that rural block.
Okay, Councillor Liz Innes, the Eurobodalla Mayor, joining us this morning. It's 13 minutes after 9, and Councillor Innes, a vote recently on Council to install and light a few sculptures on the sculpture walk in Batemans Bay. Tell us what's going to be happening there.
Oh, look, Simon, this is a wonderful story. So, I would say congratulations to our Batemans Bay community, in particular to the Batemans Bay Business and Tourism Chamber. They had a wonderful Sculptures on Clyde event running over a couple of years, and the aim of those events was not only to showcase beautiful sculptures in our area, but it was also to ultimately have a sculpture walk in Batemans Bay. Now, they have, through their fundraising efforts and community efforts, effectively donated $100,000 or about $100,000 worth of sculptures to the community of Batemans Bay, which is absolutely wonderful. And Council was delighted yesterday to be able to say, well, we will chip in the $20,000 or so that will see them installed, and also some beautiful lighting. And interestingly, solar lighting. So these installations will be a wonderful asset for our community and something that will delight everyone for many years to come.
Wonderful to get some rain right now, particularly even if it's light rain, particularly as water restrictions are on the cards for next month, and Eurobodalla Council going to great lengths to help farmers affected by the droughts. Councillor Innes, tell us about the big fundraiser that's happening on Friday week, the Eurobodalla Rain Dance.
Oh, look, Simon, these are going to be wonderful events. So, Simon, as you know, and I was listening to one of your speakers prior to that, that's the Band Together guy. Look, Simon, the reality is this drought is still crippling the whole of New South Wales. It is really devastating a lot of people out there in the rural communities. So we got together with some incredible local community groups, and we're working with Quota International down in Narooma, the Narooma Golf Club, the Moruya Golf Club, Club Catalina, the Sage Farmers Markets, and many others that are stepping forward and saying, look, we as a local community want to do something. So at Council we said, yes, all right, let's jump on board with this. So on the 23rd of November at those three golf clubs in Moruya, Narooma and Batemans Bay, we're hosting Eurobodalla Rain Dance. On the night, Simon, it's going to be pretty incredible. There's out of the generosity, and this is something that really needs to be front and centre. We live in the most generous part of the world, and when we say to our local businesses, can you chip in something that we can auction off or, raffle on the night, they time and again step up and say yes. And to that end, there's about $40,000 worth of wonderful items that are going to be up for grabs. things from romantic getaways, skydiving, zoo passes, restaurant vouchers. It's amazing, Simon. So we need people now. Like, we've done our bit. These nights are going to be spectacular, but we need everybody to jump on board and buy a ticket. The tickets now, we've reduced them. Yesterday, the councillors sort of were of a view and said, you know, maybe they were priced a bit high, and we want people to come. We want our whole community involved. So we put the tickets down to $25 a head, which puts it into reach from everybody. And the other thing that's wonderful about this, Simon, is every cent that is raised is going to go to not only our local farmers here, who are going to struggle and are struggling with feed prices and water insecurity, but to our sister shire in Cobar, and we're going to reach out and help our brothers and sisters out there. So, you know, these are fabulous events, Simon, and I hope everybody grabs a ticket, comes along on the night and has a fabulous time.
Friday the 23rd, 6:30pm, Catalina Country Club, Maruya Golf Club and Narooma Golf Club. Councillor Liz Innes, great to talk to you again. Thank you so much.
Lovely to talk to you, Simon, and they can get their tickets at the club. So get in and get them. It'll be a fantastic night.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Councillor Liz Innes on ABC South East, the Mayor of Eurobodalla Shire.